And welcome back into a brand new episode of Tribal Council Chat. As always, we're your hosts. My name is Bruce Heller,
And my name's Brett Parnell.
and we have an awesome episode for you guys this week. We have one of our favorite guests, a friend of the show. He's been on the show enough times, I don't remember how many times. I think it's three or four. But our friend Steven Brochert from Survivor Quotes,
What's
X
up,
on
everybody?
Twitter and Instagram, is back. Welcome back, dude.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
Yeah, welcome.
And
Thank you.
this is a really fun episode because for those of you that, and if you're following our show, you probably follow Steven's pages because he's one of the, from what I can tell, most popular Survivor accounts on Twitter. So you know that he posts about this Survivor museum of memorabilia he has in his house. So me and Brett decided to invite him on for some show and tell that we really
Thank
didn't give any parameters. We said do as many or as few items as you want. So you're kind of leading the show here.
All right. Yeah, I'm in my museum, which is my
Nice.
childhood bedroom. I bought my house from my parents, me and my wife. So I had all my stuff in this room from when I was a teenager. And my collection over the years just kept growing and growing. And I said, I want to put it on display in a way that I can appreciate because it's in my own house. I'm not having strangers come over, but I want to be able to look around and say, oh, that's from that season and have it displayed nice. So that's what I did. And then I started sharing pictures on the Twitter account, Survivor Quotes X, and people were very kind and wanted to see more. And it just kept the enthusiasm going. And um, it's so exciting. When I'm having a bad day, I come in here and everything just goes away.
Nice.
That's so cool. I love that.
Thank you. Yeah, it all started. I believe my first prop I bought was after Cook Islands, and that's above me back there. The yellow ore is from the first
Oh, wow.
immunity challenge of Survivor Cook Islands, where they put
Oh,
together
nice.
the boats. Um, and
We were
I,
just talking about that challenge last week for a few some
We
minutes.
did a Cook Islands episode last week.
oh, cool, cool. It's actually a really heavy piece. It has a piece of rebar going down the middle, so I would say it
Oh,
weighs about over 10 pounds. It's a
wow.
pretty heavy boat paddle. Um, and I remember buying it, and at the time, I think I was in high school, and my mom, I had to use her credit card, and she was like, "You spent like hundreds of dollars on a boat paddle? What is this?" It's like, "No, mom, you don't understand. It's from Survivor." And she's like, "You're a friggin' lunatic. I'm taking the money out of your account." And I was like, "Well, yeah, of course."
Yeah.
So, um, it came in the mail in this huge cardboard like tube, and it was so heavy. And the guy was like, "What is this?" And I was like, "Oh, don't worry about it. It's just something from a TV show." And then I opened it and I held it and I was like, "Oh my God, I'm gonna buy something every season." And
Nice.
I tried to for a while. I kind of dropped off after a while because it's a very expensive hobby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, in this room, I probably have about $10,000 worth of props.
Wow.
Wow.
Uh, I actually, it's funny. I have them added to my homeowner's insurance in case something happens. So
Smart.
Smart.
when
Smart.
I had went through the whole mortgage process, and then we had got a insurance company, they made me send in pictures and descriptions and the letters of authenticity. And this guy was like, "Is this really important to you?" And I was like, "Yeah, picture it. It's
Yeah.
like a Super Bowl football signed by the MVP." And he was like, "Oh, okay, I get it." So,
Yeah. Sure.
um, yeah, so I've just been going from there. I don't know if you want me to go in chronological order of seasons or just
Whatever
what.
you want to do.
Okay. I have a few things on the wall behind me that I've kind of propped up.
Nice.
Pardon the pun. Prop. Below the Manahiki paddle is the paddle from the John Hu tribe in China.
Hmm.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
It's still on the bottom of the paddle, still has mud from the tribe's camp. So I thought that was
Nice.
really cool. And
Wow.
so it's always fun, like when I rewatch these seasons, I look for the prop because I'm like, oh, I own that. But with
Yeah.
the Cook Islands one, there was five of them. So I don't know which exact person held it and whatnot. But to see something from a camp, like that was just so cool.
That is awesome, and that's my
Yeah.
favorite season. So
You have good taste.
I do. Thank you. It's on my phone case right here, thanks to Redbubble.
I love it. And then behind me is just all the squares is just something I painted when I redid the room. Um,
Nice.
and then below it are two stone and wood throwing axes. They're from the fifth immunity challenge of Guatemala, where
Hmm.
they were throwing them at the targets.
Oh
This is the
yeah,
episode when Blake gets voted off.
nice.
And they randomly just popped up on eBay one day, and I think I was searching for like the Survivor baseball hat, and I typed in Guatemala, and this came up, and it was so cheap, and I was like, I buy now, like immediate. So
Yeah.
Baseball hat, throwing axes, same thing.
yeah, and I mean, if they went on sale now after say 48 has a challenge like this, and they go up for sale, they're gonna go for $800-900. But I
Yeah.
got them for so cheap that I have no regrets.
Nice.
Awesome.
They might be one of, well, no, the next item I'll show you is the cheapest one I bought. It was $10 at a garage sale. The woman did not know what she had, even though it came with the certificate of authenticity.
Oh
She
my
said
God.
it was her son's, and he moved out and didn't want any of his stuff. And I saw it. I saw the letter of authenticity. I went up to the lady. And I said, I want to buy this. And I thought she was going to say, oh, $100 or something. She's like, oh, $10 and it's yours. And I was like, oh, yeah. So, and it's the green flag right there. That is Danny Boatwright's flag from the storytelling challenge of Guatemala,
Oh wow.
where
Oh,
they were
nice.
told the like the history of Guatemala with the
Yep.
natives, and they had to recall the story, and that was Danny's. So I rewatched the season and that challenge. You can't really see it that well, but I know it's there because you see the completed puzzle.
Yeah,
So that's one of them. And for $10, I thought that was a complete steal.
that's
Yeah.
crazy.
Um, let's see. And then behind me are two clubs. They're from Samoa's tribal council. Um, I'll go up and get this one because it's pretty cool. So,
That is large.
so this one is very ornately engraved,
Wow.
Oh
and
wow,
you could see it in the background of a few tribal councils, and it's got these cool like club things. So
shout
I
out to the
always
art
like this.
department.
Yeah, and um, my sister had friends over once, and they came into my room, and I was like 16, 17. And one of the girls grabbed this and went downstairs with it, like to play with it. And I was like,
Oh no.
oh, oh no, no, no. So, I don't think I've ever chased a girl that fast and been like, I need to have that back. So um, that
Oh,
could have been broken. But those two clubs I really like. And yeah, I bought them at the end of the season auction.
Nice.
nice.
So those are like the ones I have mounted up on the wall. I didn't know what to do with them until I put this whole wall together, and I thought, it's a good way to have them on display. So I like it. Um, I want to say everything I have, except for maybe three things, including the garage sale one, were from eBay. So
Nice.
they were either at the end of the season auction and I spent too much money on them, or they popped later from people who spent too much money on them and wanted to get rid of them.
Nice.
So I was more than happy to do that.
Oh,
So um, it's just so exciting. I actually was a guy reached out to me maybe I think it was last year and said he was doing as part of his MBA. No, I'm sorry, it wasn't an MBA. It was a master's in communication. His thesis was on Survivor fans and their dedication, and he interviewed me and
Nice.
room like a walkthrough, and that was featured in his master's thesis, which ended up actually getting published into like an academic journal.
Oh wow.
So Survivor Quotes X is officially in like academic journals talking about my obsession with props. So I
that's
thought that
incredible.
was it's ridiculous, but I'm happy with it. The next item I have is on this wall. It's the challenge flag from 43.
Oh wow.
Oh wow, that's
Nice.
enormous.
Yeah, so it goes actually all the way up.
That is almost floor to ceiling for those of you
I
listening
would
on
say it's
audio.
like it's over 6 feet tall. Um, so this was from 43. I can't remember the tribe's name. I think it was
Let me look at
Baka. Um,
And like Bruce says, if people are listening online, this is probably the best episode to go to YouTube for.
I'll,
yeah,
I'll post the video to Spotify. It lets me do that. If you listen on Apple Podcasts, I have nothing for you, unfortunately. Didn't even do that on purpose. Baka was the yellow tribe on 43.
Yep.
okay, okay. Um, I know 43 has kind of a mixed reputation, but their logo is so good with the
Oh, it
octopus
is.
that
Yeah.
when I saw this piece, and my favorite color is blue, but I have a pop of yellow behind me on this wall, so I was immediately drawn into just buying the yellow banner.
Yeah.
I spent too much money on it. My wife was not happy, but I took it out of my savings account, not our marriage account. So
There you
she
go.
couldn't be angry. Um,
Sounds like my friend and I going to Taylor Swift a few months ago.
I don't even want to know how expensive that was. Um, yeah. And then the other one I have on this wall, that is the Ratu tribe
Oh
flag
wow.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
that they had on a wooden pole and brought to every immunity challenge.
I have a Ratu buff. I buy a buff every season from 40 forward.
Yeah, me too.
I
Um,
want to buy older buffs, but if you look at the buff market on eBay for old seasons, it's insane.
yeah.
Is it ever?
I don't get it at all.
From watching day one of like starting season one to now, my biggest regret is not buying a buff every season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw this person who posted online a family member of theirs passed away and they were cleaning out their apartment and they came into I think it was in Survivor Fan Jury Boost. It might have been another Survivor group, but it's like, does anyone know if these buffs are worth anything? And they had a buff from every tribe in the whole franchise from
What?
like 1 to 42 or something.
That's
Like
insane.
20 grand right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen like singular buffs going, I forget what season, going on eBay for like 100, $200.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will
I've
say
seen-
there is one thing that I don't want to spend the money, but I see it on eBay every time I'm just curious looking at buses. It's this little ladder thing that has Borneo, Australia, Africa, Marquesas, Thailand, all in one package.
Yeah. That was pretty popular on CBS's website. They tried
Yeah.
to sell that for a few years. Um,
Yeah, that's
I
cool now.
I regret
really
not
like
buying that.
Thailand, but
Yeah, now it's too expensive. I have a buff tower over there,
oh,
Oh,
nice.
nice.
like the anniversary one.
Mm.
So it has the first one has the first 10 seasons, then the next 10 and 10 and 10 and 10, all the way
Nice.
up to 40.
And,
So,
and it makes sense that the Kathy fan has the three more cases buff framed.
I was gonna get to that. So I got the buff tower as a present. That was during COVID, when the buff market was really starting to take off. My wife bought it for me. And I have a few Palau buffs that Tom has signed for me.
Oh
And
wow.
I've sold two of them over the years just for money that I needed, but I have like two or three left. One is on display and two are in storage because he's a family friend, so he's signed tons of things for me.
Oh, that's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, he grew up with my mom,
Oh
so
wow.
Small world.
I always bother him with nerdy stuff, and I'm like, "Can you just sign us?" And um, but it's fun.
He must have been thrilled to see him on the show.
Yeah, and he didn't tell anyone obviously how he did. He actually told his wife that he was kicked off like around the merge, so he was
Smart.
getting closer. So when they all got to that episode and he wasn't voted off, they were all like, "Is he lying?" And then he went all the way. So that was pretty.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. Um, one of my most prized possessions I gotta grab because you brought up Kathy.
Oh boy.
All right. So when I was like, I want to say 12, 13 years old, I sent a fan letter to Kathy. This was before Facebook, before Twitter, before MySpace. It was I think I did a Google search and I found where her real estate office was, which now I'm looking back, that was so creepy of me.
I
Um,
mean, back in the day, people used to do those kind of things all the time because they had no other way to communicate. So,
exactly. So I sent her a handwritten letter, um, and I didn't hear anything for like 4 weeks, and I wasn't expecting to hear anything. I just thought like, oh, I'm gonna tell her I'm a big fan, and she probably gets that all the time. And I also have a family friend whose name is Kathy O'Brien.
Oh,
So I get this letter in the mail, and it's from Kathy O'Brien, addressed to me. And my mom is like, "Why did our friend Kathy send you something?" And I was like, "I have no idea." But in this envelope was my first Survivor autograph, and
oh
Kathy had
wow,
done this like collage, and
whoa.
so she
nice.
signed it down here. And you better believe when 12-year-old Survivor Quotes X opened this, that his whole life changed.
Oh, I
It was
bet. That's awesome.
like some people talk about losing their virginity. To me, this was losing my Survivor virginity. I
That's such a
remember
good thing.
exactly where I was when I opened this. I remember that entire afternoon. I remember screaming, my mom thinking I was a lunatic, none of my friends understanding. But I I immediately went to CVS with my parents, bought a frame, and it's been on display ever since.
That's
Nice.
amazing.
And
That's amazing.
and the fact that she just responded to a random letter sending that was
Yeah.
just so personal, and I always will appreciate that.
Nice.
And if I ever talk to her in the future, I'm gonna remind her of it, and she's gonna be like, "What are you even talking about?" But it was the
Or she
best.
remembers it and you freak out even more than you did back then.
Bruce, I think I would pass away. That's not even hyperbole. I think my heart would have an arrhythmia,
I believe you.
like Brett meeting Michelle.
Yeah.
It must be nice to
The
have your favorite player fall off the face of Survivor mysteriously.
it's funny that you say that, Stephen, because the last couple of challenge parties, Michelle and I now know each other and are on a first name basis, and we'll get along so well. But the first time I met her, she must have been like, "Who is this guy?"
I met Michelle at
Back.
the House of Villains premiere party
Oh,
that,
nice.
Oh, nice.
and she couldn't have been like more sweet. She was just
Yeah.
the nicest. And we took a picture together and she said like, "Oh, did it come out okay?" And I said, "Michelle, I don't think you understand. Forget my wife, forget my son. This is my new Christmas card." And she laughed and gave me a hug and like kissed me on the cheek, and I don't think I've stopped smiling since. Like she has that charm about her that is
Yeah.
so rare.
Yeah.
But when I met her in person, I was like, okay, this is why she did so well on Survivor.
I
Yep.
love that you got to go to the House of Villains premiere, by the way.
Yeah, Rich, we had met a year ago for breakfast, and he tweeted out and said, "I'm going to be in New York City, and I'm going to this event." It was like a promo party, and he said,
Yeah.
"Does anyone want to come with me?" So I replied and said, "Yeah, me. Please pick me." And then we had shared numbers after our last encounter, and he called me when I was at work, and he's like, "If you're serious, we can go." And I was like, "Are you freaking kidding me? Of course, I will quit my job right now and go."
Nice.
The funny part was I didn't know who else was on the House of Villains cast besides Rich and maybe two or three other people like Wes, and my wife knew one of the housewives, but I don't watch a lot of those shows.
Yeah.
So when I went to the premiere party, he introduced me to Jesse from Big Brother, and he was like, "Oh, of course you know who Jesse is." And in my head, I'm like, I have no fucking idea. And
House of Villains was my introduction to Jesse, also, by the way. You're not
yeah,
alone.
I've never seen an episode of Big Brother because I have such an addictive personality that I know if I start to watch it, I'm going to be sucked in and I'm not going to be able to pull away from it. So I
And that
never
was
watched.
bad because it's not just the episodes. They give you the option to watch it like live all the time too.
Yeah.
So I would always be wondering, what am I missing? Like, it's too much of a time commitment. So I never got
I
into.
The
I
past
know what
year,
that's like because I've had some people introduce me to other people at different challenge parties, and I'm sitting there going, I have my own challenge podcast. I only started watching this show the day that Michelle said she was on the cast. So when people are like on it 20 years ago, I'm like, who?
see, I'd
Yeah.
probably recognize him because I start like the season Natalie Anderson was on in 36. That year, I went back and like started binging it on Paramount Plus from like 13 forward.
Yeah.
I used to watch the challenge when it aired live, back on MTV in like 2003, 2004 with like road rules.
Nice.
So, but I stopped watching because life happens, and
Yeah.
I started watching again when Michelle came back for what was that Spies, Lies, and
Yeah.
Allies.
37.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Michaela goes quick. Tommy Shaheen is with taken away, and Michelle goes out, and I was like, all right, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I go to this event and like Wes is there, and I'm like, oh my God, I saw Wes like back when I had antennas on the back of my TV to watch him. Like, it was
Oh,
just so
cool.
wild, and he was so nice. Like it
Yeah.
was just such a cool event, and just hanging out with Rich and meeting Michelle and all these people was so much fun. And I need to go to more events now.
Yeah.
Nice.
And to those in the audience, watch House of Villains if you haven't. I binge really hard, so I've binged through both seasons in the past like 2, 3 weeks. So really good show. I enjoyed that.
I have not yet watched the finale, and that's only because I was spoiled on who wins, and so that excitement is kind of gone. So it's on my DVR,
Yeah.
but I gotta watch it.
That was me with the Traitors season finale last season, as I saw who won, and then it took me like a week to watch the finale afterwards because I was
Yeah,
just busy in that season.
I didn't watch Traders 1 until maybe like 4 months after it had aired. So
Yeah,
I knew going in Suri won, but I had no idea what the game was about. Um,
yeah.
but
Another good show.
I I I love Traders. It's such a
Yeah.
good.
By the way, free advertising. Check out Reality Realm's new Trader Show Roundtable Talk this season for the audience. Check that out.
Yeah,
But
I'm loving Traders, and I love that it's not dropped all at once, like the
Yeah.
information
yeah,
throughout the
like the
week.
first season was.
Yeah, and I'm not a binge watcher. That's one of my like fatal flaws when it comes to reality TV. Like when I rewatch a season of Survivor, I will only watch 2 or 3 episodes at a time, and I think that
Yeah.
has to do with like my attention span. But if traders were to all drop at once, I wouldn't be able to keep up with it as quickly as everyone else. So then I would go online, I would be spoiled, and it
Exactly.
wouldn't be as much fun. So I appreciate the fact that it's week by week now.
And see, I also don't like when shows drop all at once for the other reason, and that's because I am a binge watcher. So like Cobra Kai's final season is in the process of dropping around. They're doing different parts. Part two dropped the second 5 episodes, and I watched them all in one night. Now I have like back in November, and I've been having to wait till part three drops forever. Whereas
Yeah.
if they would just drop it weekly, I'd get to enjoy it over the course of 5 weeks instead of just blasting through it instantly.
Yeah, I just know when I binge watch, I forget things, and
Yeah.
then
Same.
like 3 episodes in, I'm like, wait, why is this happening? And then someone will be like, oh, weren't you like paying attention? I'm like, I don't know. There's so much going on. I just need to sit and focus. So
Yeah.
I appreciate that Traders is week by week. I also have in this room a few more props that I'll share, and then
Sure.
I have this whole wall that's just kind of buffs and autographs, and you
Wow.
pointed out the Marquesas buffs. Um,
Nice.
Two are the original Reebok, and the Soliantu pink buff is not, and that just kills me. But
That's such a cool color.
I can't justify spending more money on it. So
Yeah.
I have it framed. I have it up there.
Nice.
I have a few TV guides from Survivor back in the day. I have Jenna
Yeah.
and Heidi's Playboy, which was fun getting in the mail. My wife is, why are you ordering porn? And I was like, listen, it's for the museum. It's not what you think. I'm not even going to open it. I mean, I had to, but I was like, listen, it's part of history. So,
Am I
um,
remembering right that I saw something on your Twitter regarding the museum that like T-Bird sent you something?
I'm going to get to that. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yes.
Next to me, I have a few of like smaller props that I can actually show you that aren't mounted to a wall. So I
Yeah.
figured
Nice.
the one that you brought up is from T-Bird. It's from the When It Rains, It Pours challenge in Africa. T-Bird has always been incredibly kind to Survivor fans, and
Oh yeah.
she has become a true friend to me. And I'm getting emotional thinking about it. But um, I posted a walkthrough video of the museum, and she said, "Oh, you have nothing from Africa?" And I'm sure if I was back on eBay in the day, those items probably sold for nothing that I could afford. Like,
Hmm.
so, and they're not popping up on eBay anytime soon. So she sent me her wristlet
Oh
that
wow.
was
Whoa.
to the actual
Bucket of water.
bucket. So I had this little stand made up on Etsy that just says Survivor Africa because I wanted to display it, but I didn't know what to properly put it on. Um, and then she sent me a few autographed pictures that I have around the room, and I couldn't believe that she would send me something so personal.
Yeah.
It's not something that could be replicated. It was her exact piece, so it just blows my mind.
That is awesome. And I
Yeah, that is.
shout out to the people that win that challenge because I briefly
I
was going to hold my arm up like this, like that challenge for the rest of the episode. And it's already tired. So,
I couldn't do it. I had dislocated my shoulder a few times, and
cool.
I could barely raise it,
Yeah.
so I couldn't do that challenge.
A
Um,
challenge I think I'd be terrible at, but I want to try is Last Gasp just because I like watching it. But I'm also not a great swimmer, so I don't know. I'd probably
I
be terrible at it, but it's fun to watch.
I think I could do it
Oh
actually.
yeah.
I
I'm a
think I
very
could because
stubborn person.
I think I could do it, but I scuba dive, so I'm used to having waves go over the top of my head,
Yeah,
albeit with a regulator in my mouth.
I can
I'm
wrap my arms and legs like around the bars, so I don't have to
yeah,
be good at swimming necessarily.
that's true. And I think a big part of that challenge is the claustrophobia.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think that's a natural thing a lot of people have, and I do too. But knowing it's a survivor challenge and you're not in danger, I think would kind of take that fear away,
Yeah.
unless you get in your own head. But I think I would do well. The challenge I always wanted to do was the final challenge from Palau. I would love to do that
Yeah.
Yeah,
because I think I would be up there 10, 12 hours too. The hardest part would be not going to the bathroom.
yeah.
Yeah.
Have you heard Probst talk about like the lighting struggles with that challenge?
Yes,
They're
Tom
like,
told me a few stories over that as
yeah,
well.
I've heard
They
Probst
tried,
talk about how like they didn't have lighting prepared because they didn't think it was going to go that late, and they tried bringing in fire, but then it started blowing smoke at people.
yeah, and Tom and Ian were very angry about these fires being placed around them, and Tom told me he threatened them with legal action, saying that they're changing a challenge and everything. And then Ian said he would back him up, and they would both like quit and all this drama. Uh, and you think that's a little dramatic, but in the moment, like I
Yeah,
get it.
Yeah.
You're down to day 38, and you want to just win this final challenge, and they're gonna try and mess with you. Like, no.
all that, and Ian ends up stepping down.
I know if you listen to the commentary of Palau, Ian says that he tried to tie the string from his bathing suit around the pole to keep him tied on. And Jeff was like, yeah, no, you can't do that. So
Rachel
he
with
tried
the rice all over again.
he should have let Rachel keep that rice. I'm firmly in that camp.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So am I.
I'm
Yeah.
kind of surprised he
If
did.
you listen to the commentary in Pearl Islands and All Stars, he's let people do that before.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
he's very inconsistent, and he said that. He's even said like just because something happens one way doesn't mean that it'll happen that same way in that same situation again.
yeah, I think like a prime example would be Liz helping Kenzie in that challenge.
Yeah.
If it's
Yeah,
a season where he doesn't like Kenzie, he's not letting that happen.
yeah,
I'm not saying that he rigged anything. Absolutely
Yeah.
not. I'm
no.
just saying if it's another season and it's a different situation, he's not letting that happen.
His his philosophy of the past is no indicator of the future creates a lot of inconsistencies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I get that it's like an entertainment show, but as a competitor, that's got to be so frustrating.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I mean, I was rooting for Kenzie to win, so I didn't mind it as much. But if I was Maria, I would have hated it.
Bruce and I texted about this for a couple of weeks after.
I'm like, I wanted to be right. I said Kenzie was going to win halfway through the season, so I didn't mind. But I
Yeah.
get it. I'd hate it if I was Maria.
Yeah, and it also makes you wonder now in future seasons, say it's an alliance of three against one, and they're in a the final challenge, could they team up on that one
That's it.
person? Or like you're setting a difficult precedent there, I
Yeah.
think. So the next item I have is also thanks to T-Bird, although it's not from her season. I reached out to T-Bird and I said, Teresa, like one of my biggest Survivor players that I love is Karen Grodell. There a way, because I think Karen is just freaking hilarious, and she has absolutely no right being that good on Survivor as she does. And I'm not saying as a strategic player, but just days lasted. And I think that's so funny because she's not a social player, she's not a
No.
physical player, and she just is so funny. So I reached out to T Bird and I said, "Hey, is there a way that I could get an autograph from Karen for the museum?" And Teresa goes, "Well, how about I text her and I'll ask her?" And I said, "Yeah, of course." And if she says no, like, of course, like I'm not gonna. It is what it is. Um, and so she replies and she goes, "Karen wants your number." And I'm
That's
like, "All
great.
right, well, I'm already married, but I'll take it." So I'm texting with Karen for a few days and I show her pictures of the museum. She ends up sending me, oh, I didn't take it off the wall. Uh,
Oh boy.
she sends me an autographed picture with my favorite quote
Nice.
from her that she's a very good actress. Uh, so I had printed this picture out. I mailed it to her with the return envelope so she didn't have to pay for shipping and just trying to be nice. And she sent me back the picture and I thought that was great and I loved it. And then she goes, "All right, I have um I have a question for you." I'm like, "Karen, you could ask me for my like bank routing numbers and I would give them to you." And she goes, "I have a prop of mine that I want to give to you that you could have in your museum. But if you ever decide to sell it or get rid of it, you have to give it back to me." And I was like, "Yeah, of course. Like it's your item. I don't own it." So she sent it to me and it's from the third
Oh
episode
wow.
3 of Palau. This was the challenge. This is a piece of tree mail that
Hmm.
came from the challenge where they wrestled for the buoys
Yep.
and had to like go back to the starting pole. And I believe Karen sat this challenge out, but um, she had it and graciously gave it to me on loan. And so I have my little Karen section over there with her picture and the piece of
Yeah.
tree.
I
Nice.
will give a quick shout out to Karen because forever ago now, one of my Align Blindside first boot themes was people that have worn buffs in unconventional ways. And for the graphic, I used the one of her just wearing a buff as a full bodysuit somehow.
Yeah, she's got the double buff.
Yeah, it's two of them. That's right.
If you go back and watch the merge episode of Palau, you can see her wearing a Karor and an Oolong buff.
Hmm.
And Tom told me that she immediately went over to Stephanie and was like, "You're now a member of Karor. Can I have your buff?" And Steph was like, "Well, no." And Karen goes, "Well, I'm going to wear it, but if you ever go home, I'll give it back to you." So there's
But
like a
of course
random
she's
shot.
going home because she's outnumbered everything to one.
Yeah.
Exactly. But if you look, there's a few pictures of, or like background shots of Karen walking around in two colored buffs. So I think she's the only player to ever be in two different colored buffs.
That is a fun piece of trivia.
I might,
That's hysterical.
I think I might post that tonight.
Yeah, good idea.
You
Um,
guys,
my next thing is from the Australian Outback, which I never expected to own a prop from Australia.
yeah.
Um, they're really rare to find, and when you do, they're really expensive. This one popped up on eBay and I was able to get it probably in like 2016, 2015, and it was only $120.
Huh.
But it's from the second immunity challenge where they did like make those little squares
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
you drop your piece in. So this
Oh
is
well.
like I
Oh
guess
wow, that's Jerry. That's so cool.
yeah. So I guess you would call this like a dot where if once you made the four connections, you would just drop it in.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's made of like a thin balsam wood. I sent a picture of this to Jerry on Instagram, and I was like, "Jerry, I have this in my museum," and she wrote back like the nicest thing.
Nice.
So
She
just thought that was
follows
so.
our show's Instagram page.
Jerry is phenomenal, and
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
hope I hope he's not done on Survivor. I think her storyline is perfect now how it is, but I would love to
Yeah.
see her on 50.
Same.
Yeah.
So we'll see
And
what happens
I'd
there.
love it. Just kind of fantasy for the show. I'd love to get her on for an interview sometime, especially because we just had Tina on.
Yeah, that was
So
incredible.
Oh, thanks.
the thing that I came away with that was, well, one of the many, but Tina really shed some light on beef jerky for me. That it wasn't just the he said, she said. The show made it out to be.
Yeah, yeah, because he had been caught before.
Yeah.
So
Which I didn't know until Tina told us that. So
yeah, and I remember not listening. I was reading stuff back on the message boards during Australian Outback, like very basic, like coded message boards. And Kel was actually accused of touching himself inappropriately, and that the beef jerky was like a code for him jerking something else.
Oh,
oh, okay.
And so he was accused of both things, and that's why Ogakor got rid of him, even though he was a strong man and you needed them for challenges back then. I'm saying that in air quotes because I think it's sexist to think that men are superior. But
well, the challenge 40 just proved that with Michelle and Jenny and Rachel and Tori all kicking the guys' asses one after the other.
There you go.
but I mean, to think in season two that someone would be eliminated despite being a strong challenge competitor, like they must have been
Yeah.
really bad. And so Kel was socially ostracized. Then he was accused of stealing food. He was accused of doing inappropriate things. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I doubt Tina would want to talk about something like that.
Yeah.
No, she would. What the stuff she did tell us was incredible, though. That was so much fun to record. But
Yeah.
that prop you have from that season is so cool.
I told Jerry, I said, if I ever meet you, I can you please sign it for me? So if I ever know she's at an event, I gotta bring it with me.
The fact
Yeah.
that it's a dot with a name on it, and me and Brett are both like, "Yeah, we remember that challenge exactly."
Oh, yeah.
It's hysterical to me.
And
I
I was like,
watched that challenge when I was 8 years old.
I was full blown Team Kucha at the time too, and I remember being devastated that Elizabeth didn't win that challenge.
I
But
love her. She's so good on that season. Her and
yeah,
Roger.
I mean,
I
Kucha
was
has
at the
not.
point maybe up until Amazon that I was not really sure what they were doing, but just fascinated with the fact that we were seeing Australia on TV.
That's incredible.
I have my wall here is just a bunch of Survivor pictures. I
I have
screenshotted online and ordered prints up from Walgreens to tape on my wall. So Roger and Elizabeth are one of them.
I believe I have. Oh God, I don't see it right now. Let me look. But I
I
have
have one autograph picture I ordered from a charity auction online. That's Parvati's Cook Islands picture.
Oh, cool.
Autographed. I had it up here behind me for our Cook Islands episode.
I'm going crazy looking for it now, but I have an autograph from Elizabeth.
Oh, that's cool.
She was at a mall near my house. Why can't? Oh, it's right here. Um, she was at a mall doing some promotion for some TV show.
Mm,
So I went
nice.
up, I went to the table and I got an autograph and I said how big of a fan I was of her on Survivor. And I said, "Would you ever do it again?" And she was like, "No, absolutely not." This
That's
was like
fair.
during, I think, Redemption Island airing. So it was right
Yeah.
after Heroes vs. Villains where she got X'd again. So she was kind of like, no, never. Um, but meeting her and then getting an autograph was like so cool.
That is
Nice.
awesome. I love that.
And I think with the increase in social media, autographs are not valued anymore. Like
Yeah.
I could tweet at a Survivor player and possibly have a reply, but therefore I'm not out seeking their signature, you know?
Yeah.
I have one thing. I have a 41 buff that I would take off, but it's thumbtacked to my wall. It's Luvu, and had messaged when I did a Survivor fan page and messaged with Sydney Seagal a little bit. And I'm like, hey, if I pay for shipping to send this to you, will you autograph it and send it back? So I have Sydney's autograph on this up here
That's
Nice.
awesome.
that she actually wrote F Luvu on, but not just the letter.
That is perfect for Sydney's character on that show, right to the moment that her torch got snuffed.
Let me take off this piece. It's kind of clipped to the wall, but I want to show you. And I have the Survivor Museum sign
Oh, nice.
Oh, nice.
along with like projects I made in art class. Let me put my computer down and grab this.
Oh yeah, you can't picking computers up is a thing. I guess I can show this to you guys in the audience. Well, my light's plugged into it, so we'll see. But
Oh, that's a great collection. I love the witches picture.
yeah, again, these are all just pictures I got online that I had Walgreens print for me,
Yeah. When
except
Tom
for the
first,
Parvati one.
oh, that's the auction one.
Yeah, there's some charity auction, and I have a Fishback signed parchment somewhere that was like "Forgive Kids the World" or whatever.
Yeah, I have one of those too. It's from George from Australian
Oh,
Survivor.
nice.
So
Dude, that's cool. He's awesome.
I'm a huge fan of George. I think he's one of the most fascinating Survivor players of any international or any season.
Brains versus Braun gave us him and Haley both, who are
Yeah.
just both incredible. So
That was my first season of Australian Survivor, and I was like, what? Like, just
so that was the first one I was watching live. No, I watched the one after that, the Sandra one I watched live.
okay.
But the first one I saw was season 4, the one that David from Deal or No Deal Island, it was his first season.
Mhm.
Because in either 2020 or 2021, very briefly, Australian Survivor was on American Paramount Plus
Yeah.
for like a matter of months. I have no idea why or why it went down so quickly, but I watched that through Paramount Plus.
Hmm.
Then watched Brains versus Brawn because I skipped All Stars.
Yeah, I watched Brains versus Brawn, then I went back to 2016 and started Australian from there.
Nice.
So the next item I have is a hat from Palau that Tom had signed for me
Oh,
with
nice.
a bunch of Palau cast members.
Hmm.
So he started off very matter of fact, Tom Survivor Palau.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then Greg signed it.
Oh wow, you got a lot on there.
Yeah.
Ian signed it. Katie signed the back.
Wow.
And then one of my favorites was Jen Lyon signed it.
Nice.
Oh, that's
Wow.
cool.
I met Jen when I
Oh,
was
really?
right after she was diagnosed with cancer.
Oh,
She was visiting Tom, and I met her, and she had her hair basically gone, and she was just the sweetest, nicest person. I still remember meeting her and just I was a little nerdy kid. I'm a nerdy adult now, but she was just she took the time to actually listen, and she was so articulate and so kind that I was like, there's no way that she's this sweet.
yeah.
And uh I met her a few more times because she was staying with Tom for a while, and she was just so genuine. I can't imagine anyone has anything negative to ever say about Jen. She was just
Nice.
sweet.
That's so cool.
Um,
That's really cool, actually.
yeah. And then I remember emailing her and saying how great it was to meet her. And then she wrote back, and it was very nice. I have 4 more props. I have tons of memorabilia, but these are the last 4 props. No, I'm sorry, I have 5 more.
Sounds
Uh,
good.
so the next one comes from Survivor Thailand. Uh, episode 2, they had blindfolds on, and the one person was a caller, and they had to go and collect these sandbags. This randomly popped up on eBay too, but it's one of the sandbags from the Supjai tribe.
Oh, wow.
Oh wow, that's a very
So
bright, shiny purple.
it is, and it's full of like really powdery sand, like I'm getting it on my hands now. Um, but that randomly popped up on eBay, and I snagged it right away. And
Both the colors and you describing the texture of sand just reminds me so much of being in that country.
yeah, I
I think
mean,
I'm going to go back there in December to Thailand and to Cambodia.
Also,
Well, watch my social medias. I have a fun surprise for Survivor fans coming if I make this trip.
also, I our fans know, and I feel like I'm definitely not in the minority on this. I'm not the biggest Survivor Thailand fan, but that season has one of my favorite just random what the heck moments that one of the I forget which one, lost their canoe and their boat just drifted away overnight while they were sleeping.
Oh, I
Yeah,
remember that.
that's
That's never gonna not be funny to me.
that was Chewy gone,
It
Yep.
and
was.
they show it like miles away on the other island. And I don't know. I have a soft spot for Thailand.
Yeah.
I'm not agreeing with any of the ugliness. I agree. There
Yep.
was a lot of things on that season that were terrible. It's just a season that I think is very driven by the characters,
Yeah.
not the strategy. So when it gets down to the final four, I feel like you really know them
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you understand why they're taking things so personally. Yet you see Brian is just he doesn't care. Like these
Yeah.
people don't matter to him, and that's so terrifying, but it's so fascinating in the terms of like reality TV. And I really wish that Jeff would not hate him so much. Um, I don't
Yeah.
think he should ever be back,
No.
but just him playing was so gross and so fascinating. It's like I always say Thailand is like a slow psychological thriller movie.
Yep.
Yeah. And to be fair, I'm kind of hard on it. I think it wouldn't have the reputation it does if it wasn't for Brian, because everything you're saying is great. He's the Iceman. He's a great player. And I don't want to get a ton into it because I don't know a ton, but he's not been great off the show, from what I
Yep.
understand, to say the least. So I think he kind of
Yeah.
gives it a black eye, along with the Ted and Gandia stuff. But I mean, pre-merge auction, for example, or
Yeah,
like
what was
That
that
was
on?
great.
a boat. There's so many weird little idiosyncrasies that are kind of cool with that season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
Um,
Island of the Idols. Like it's got some cool moments, but just overall, it's got a dark reputation and not liked very much.
I would say I do a rewatch of Thailand maybe once every 3 years. Um, just because I'm an old school fan and I love the first, I would say 12 seasons in a different way. I love all seasons, but these ones just have a different feeling for me. So I'll rewatch Thailand, and there are parts of it that make me want to throw up, and there are other parts that I'm like, oh my God, like it's wild that this used car salesman can just suck these people in completely, and they buy it like
Yep.
100%. It's terrifying. Um, but I
Yeah.
think Thailand gets a bad rap. Most of it is deserved, but I do give it some grace. Um, but we're getting on a tangent here. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
The
Tangents are
next
fun.
the next item I have is from Cambodia. Um, it's actually um, it's two pieces of tree mail that I'll show you, and the tree mail holder. Um, this is this is the challenge where I'm sorry, the lamp is kind of bad. Um, this is the tree mail to the challenge where they did one player from each tribe, the Heroes Challenge,
Oh well.
and um, Andrew Savage wins it for Angkor.
Yes.
And then this one up here is for the dragon puzzle that they lost and voted off PG. So this one's not seen on screen. This one is.
Yeah.
And this is the tube that tree mail was delivered to the Angkor tribe. Um,
That is cool.
I actually came into possession of it through a Facebook group, and a guy bought every buff and a few props from Jeff Varner, uh, because Jeff is a terrible person and I don't want to associate him, but I have to understand the history behind these pieces. So there are three pieces from Cambodia. I didn't like the Jeff association, but to buy something off the show is so cool. I wasn't interested in buying any of his buffs, but I was like, I want the tree mail. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
This, among other things, this episode is making me want to look at Survivor props on eBay when we stop recording. So
Yeah, there's two winners of that war props on there. One is 2,000 and one's 2,500.
I'm looking at the 2,500 one on my phone right now. It's Survivor Winners at War Edge of Extinction sign, signed by Probst.
Yeah. Um,
2,500 plus $25 delivery.
I mean, at that price, you think they would just throw in free delivery?
At that price, Probst better deliver it himself.
A few of the props in here, like the Ratu flag, the Baka flag, and one other thing I haven't shown you, is signed by Jeff. Um, I think he signs most of the new things. I don't know. Um, the next thing I have is the next two things I have are from Heroes, Healers, Hustlers, um, which I thought was such a random thing. But these popped up on eBay, and this is from the voting booth. This is the lantern with
Oh,
the original
wow.
Nice.
candle in it. Someone had bought this on eBay, and they told me it was damaged, so they sold it. They resold it to me, and I was able to fix it. Um, but I thought that was so cool.
Wow. Yeah.
I lit the candle once to take a picture, and I blew it out right away because I was like, I don't want to burn the original. And then also from that voting booth, I have the paperweight.
Mm,
So this was the paperweight from Heroes, Healers, Hustlers. It's pretty heavy. It's probably like 2 or 3, maybe 4 pounds. So if you watch the episodes, this is the one they pick up off the parchment and everything.
Huh.
wow.
And that one randomly popped up on eBay too. The last thing I have that I'm going to show you is the most expensive thing I purchased.
Oh, boy.
Um, it was from Winners at War, and um, I wanted a piece from that season so bad. And I had just graduated with my master's degree. I got some money as gifts, and I said to myself, I'm gonna buy something. So I was bidding on stuff. I wanted something from Michelle, something from Kim. I wanted anything. Everything was going for like five, six, $7,000. It was crazy. So I actually ended up with Amber's um, fire token. Fire
Whoa.
Wow.
token.
That's amazing.
So this is only seen on screen very briefly when Natalie Anderson gets voted off,
Yep.
but and Jeff signed it down here too. But I was like, I have to have it. So
Nice.
I think I spent like 2,700 on it. And several people have offered to buy it from me since, and I'm like, no, that's not
Yeah.
happening. Um, and I tweeted out when I won it a picture of it when it finally came in the mail, and that was the only time that Boston Rob ever replied to me. So I thought that was pretty worthy.
That's cool.
Yeah. Um, and what's really driving me crazy in my life now is I have this room and everything is on display, and my 2-year-old loves to come in here.
Oh, no.
And the other
Oh,
day, I come down the hallway and I'm following him, and he's only 5, 6, 7 steps ahead of me. And I come into the room and he's holding this
Oh, no.
amber box, and I was like, "Listen, I will never,
no.
but you need to put that down right now." So I just ran over and grabbed it, and he he's got to learn not to come into Dada's Survivor Museum. There's a little older.
That is fantastic.
Oh, and then I have a bunch of just autographs around here. I have this whole um, just this whole wall. It's a big TV in the back over there, but I just have buffs over it. There's the Winners at War Against ALS t-shirt that Yule and Penner had sold.
Nice.
There's the buffs. There's the first 3 seasons, the cast autograph pictures that most people have seen those, but those are just copies. So,
Very
and
nice.
behind me, I have the DVDs, and then the Winners at War trading cards that this woman, Katie Tedesco, sold on Etsy. So I have those on display.
Yeah,
And
I think I just ordered a D sticker from her recently. She does really
yeah,
cool
no,
art.
she's great. If anyone is looking for Survivor stuff on Etsy, look up Katie Tedesco. I have
Yeah.
no money to make off of it. I don't know her, but I just know she does good work.
I also have Kelly and Amanda stickers from her that I ordered a while ago and can't figure out where to put. So,
I have your sticker you sent me over there. I don't have it.
woohoo! We made it in the museum, Brett.
Yeah, you're right
Nice.
over. You're right over here.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I love
Nice.
that.
Love it.
Gosh, it's so big. I did not mean to order those as big as those are, but it works.
But I'm one of those people where I can never place a sticker.
Yeah.
Because what if I don't like it in that place? So
Hmm.
I have it over there.
Very nice.
That way I can move it in case of anything. Um, what else do I? I also have the Survivor. Oh, I missed the prop. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Um,
don't be.
so also from Survivor Palau, I have this. The last tribal immunity challenge where they went up and over those pontoons and did the crossword puzzle. Not the crossword puzzle, the word search. Do you remember that
Yep.
one?
Yep.
Yeah, vaguely.
Yeah, it was Greg and Kobe versus Steph and Bobby John. So I randomly came across this with a guy who sells props, and I was okay with the price. So it's the word search from that
Oh
challenge,
wow.
Oh,
and
wow.
it has the original chalk marks from Greg and Kobe from Karor.
Whoa.
Oh wow.
So I'm in the middle. I'm gonna mount it on that wall right there. But since it's a puzzle, I have to like figure out how to mount it without damaging it. So I think I'm gonna put double-sided tape onto a piece of plywood and then put it up against the wall.
Yeah.
But then
Nice.
I'm also afraid someone's gonna get rid of the chalk marks, so I might put a piece of plexiglass over it.
Smart.
My my wife is like, that's a bit much, but I need
Just
to
like a
protect
real
it.
museum, though.
Yeah, yeah. I have had people on Twitter like send me DMs asking if they could come see it, and I'm not sure how to go about that
Yeah.
because it's just like my private house. I would
Yeah.
love to
Exactly.
share it, but so I might in the future. But
Just keep growing your collection until it's big enough to actually like rent out like an office space or something and
yeah,
charge admission for people to come see it.
that would be my ideal situation. Um, there was a website about 3 years ago that sold the Ratana flag, the individual
Ooh.
immunity necklace from Borneo, and they
Wow.
also had the voting urn with the 7 votes in it.
Bet that
Um,
went for a lot of money.
so it ended up selling, all three sold to the same person for $750,000. Yeah,
Good Lord.
yeah.
Yeah.
I believe I posted screenshots of that on my Twitter. Um, because I think where did I see it? Something popped up somewhere that said Survivor props from season one are up for sale. So I was like, oh, let me look. Like that's amazing. And I looked it up, and the cheapest thing was the flag, and it was like $50,000. And I was like, okay, I guess I'm not buying anything. But that just shows you how rare these things are. So
Yeah.
that's how I justify to myself. If I spend the money, I know I'm gonna love it. I'm not ever aiming to resell anything, so
Yeah.
it's not like I'm wasting it on betting at a casino and losing it. Like I'm buying something that brings me joy, and always will.
For sure.
Um, what else do I? Yeah, so it's really just a room of collectibles and props and autographs. And I don't know what's going to happen if me and my wife decide to have more children because this room's not going anywhere. We might need room for a baby, so who knows?
I mean, just do and I haven't seen it. I've seen two of these movies and read none of the books, but just do the Harry Potter thing and Under the Stairs.
I
I
might
think
have to
that's a Harry
renovate.
Potter thing.
Yeah, I might have to like modernize and clean up my basement and then relocate everything down there into like a nice finished area, but that's down the line.
Yeah.
So I I just I always think of that question, what would you do if you won the lottery? And people say, oh, I would quit my job, I would travel the world, and like
Nope.
those are great things, and I would probably do that too. But I would go on eBay at the end of every season and buy everything.
Nice.
Like
Nice.
that would be how I lose all my money.
Like that meme that says, if I won the lottery, I wouldn't tell anyone, but there would be signs.
Yeah, you would just have Amazon packages coming to my house, or not even Amazon, just eBay packages of props.
I'm gonna start seeing
Um,
you post a lot more new pictures of props we haven't seen before.
that's when you'll know.
Yeah.
I mean, that would also involve me buying a lottery ticket, which I never do. So,
Same.
Same here.
so you have pops from Todd?
I do.
Yeah.
So this was the first one I ordered. It's Amanda, of course. I can get this down. And the boxes are all autographed. This is all I said was I wanted Amanda. And what he did was he made
Oh,
it
from
the
the
final
final.
immunity challenge with the dishes stacking.
I like how the one is upside down, like her.
Yeah, so
Actually,
smart.
oh,
And then the second one, I won one of his like discount challenges or something, and I got Kelly, and he put the Edge of Extinction buff on here.
Bruce, you guys chat. I'm just gonna go grab a couple things.
Yeah, are you getting yours? And he charges extra for the torch, and I didn't pay that, and he put the torch on here anyway.
that's great.
So I've got Amanda Kimball, I've got Kelly Wentworth, who, as you know, and our audience knows, my two favorite all-time players. And I've got my favorite winner here that I ordered at some point between last August and now. I want to say this might have been a tax return thing. I don't remember, but it's my favorite winner, Natalie Anderson. Again, he put the torch on there. I don't remember if I ordered it with the torch or not. I know I didn't order Kelly with the torch, and he put that in there though.
No, he's a
But
gentleman.
he does great work. He was the first former player we ever had on the show too.
Mhm.
So and so yeah.
Yeah, I have two pops from him. Um, the first one I got was of Kim Spradlin,
Yeah.
and it's back there on the wall down there. So I have that one. And I reached out to him and I said, "Can you custom make a pop of like of a Survivor player, but of like my favorite moment?" And I sent him the video of it, and he was like, "It could be a little challenging, but I'll try." So
Oh
the
boy.
moment the moment was the final five of Marquesas when Kathy wins immunity. That's the challenge where they have the storytelling and they collect the totems around their chest, and it's at night. Do you remember that challenge?
Yeah.
Yep.
So Kathy wins and she swings the torch above her head and she lets out that big Kathy laugh. And that's just my favorite because she's my favorite player of all time. So I
Yeah.
said, "Can you make that for me?" So he did, and it's her
Oh,
winning.
nice.
Oh, that's so cool.
And I got this in the mail and I was like, "Todd, you son of a bitch. Like, you knocked it out of the park." He is such an artist.
Yeah.
Um, so I have it on display over here, and I actually have a framed picture of Keith Nail, even though it's not autographed, but Keith deserves it. So
Yeah.
Nice.
It took me a little while to actually order one because I would see the price and it sounds like a lot at first, and I was working fast food, but
mhm.
it's totally worth it. He does such good work.
Yeah,
I definitely recommend if
I
you
was
guys
very
want
happy
one,
to.
order it, and you don't pay it all at once either. So
Yeah, so if anyone's out there listening and they want a pop of their favorite player or of themselves or any moment, like Todd is your guy. He
yeah,
is so
I want
good.
another one. I just don't know who I'd get.
I
So
know.
And
I was
he's
thinking
that
that.
just means I want one to want one. I don't need it yet.
Yeah. Um, if you're
My
following him on
filter is already
Instagram, like
full. So
he posts pictures of everyone that he makes. Like they're so good. I don't have that kind of artistic ability, and I'm very
yeah.
jealous.
So what did you go get? I think I know, but
how you guys were just talking about your pops from Todd.
Is that Queen Mish?
Yeah, it
it
sure
is.
is.
So when he
That's
came on our
incredible.
show, the only thing he asked was that one of us buy a pop as like because he's taking time away from his business to come on
Yeah.
the show.
Yeah,
So Brett did that on behalf
So
of our
that's
show and ordered that.
Michelle in as from Kolong.
I love it.
So yeah.
And then in Atlanta, where I was in Atlanta for Challenge Mania this year,
Oh boy.
and that's the whole cast that came to the event, including her,
That's so
Nice.
cool.
and they all signed it. And then from Winners at War, Fair Play designed a bunch of T-shirts for the players that won. I took
Oh boy.
mine to Manhattan for the first Bryson Wen presents in 41 Premier Party, and Michelle signed this one as well.
Nice.
Oh, that's so cool.
I
Yeah,
saw Fair. I've seen a few of those. I've seen yours. I've seen he sells a Tony Nachos shirt.
yeah.
My favorite thing about Fair Play shirts was I was talking about how I've been binging House of Villains the past couple weeks. Season one of House of Villains is just free advertising for Fair Play shirt shop because
I
he's just
wonder how
wearing
much he sells.
what?
I wonder how much he like how many sales he makes. It's got to be enough, you know.
One
Oh yeah.
of them he's wearing like in a confessional. He's wearing the Die Jerks shirt that one of the Outcast people made, but he sells it now. One of the challenges he's wearing a shirt that has his mug shot on it from a few years ago.
Yeah.
Like, it's just him wearing his own merchandise the whole season, and I think it's hilarious. And
I
Johnny
was shocked when
Bananas
I
doing
watched.
the same thing the whole season with his hats that just say bananas on them.
Uh, See, I didn't know who Bananas was until I watched Traders because
Yeah.
I hadn't watched like the challenge since like Coral was on it, and
Mm.
Gosh.
so
Yeah.
God, it had been so long. Like that's when they pulled people off the real world, and that show's not even discussed anymore. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
He
I had
was
no
on.
idea.
He was Real World Key West, I think. His
yeah,
first
he was.
challenge season
Yeah,
was
he was back
13.
in the early days, but I didn't remember. So,
Yeah. But yeah, he kind of did not as much as Fair Play, but he definitely with House of Villains kind of did the wearing his own merch shirt, which
well,
is nice advertising.
I respect it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
The
so
Die Jerk shirt I think is hilarious though.
yeah, it's very Ryan Shoulders coded
Oh
in
gosh.
Pearl
Jimmy
Islands.
Ryan. Shout out to
Um,
him.
I also have one last autograph I want to share, just because I think it's a special one.
Yeah.
So this one, I think when I was back in high school, I was super nerdy, as many Survivor fans are, and I was buying autographs off the show. Um, and I this one popped up, and I couldn't pass it up. So it's an autograph from Sonia Christopher.
Nice.
Oh wow, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've had this for probably, God, since like 2004.
Wow.
And so when she passed, that it was very heartbreaking, but uh the autograph says best always surviving and thriving. So I like to think that she's still doing that.
Yeah,
For
absolutely.
sure. I love that so much.
I also have an autograph from Leanne from Vanuatu that I
Nice.
got because I had sent her a DM on MySpace back in the day, and I told her I was a huge Survivor fan, and I didn't even ask for an autograph. And she wrote back, and she was like, "Oh, what's your address? I'll send you an autograph picture." And that was my like, maybe like second or third autograph I ever got, and the fact that a Survivor player responded to me in like 2005 on MySpace, like I remember almost peeing my pants, and I think I like went into my parents' room and told them, and they were like, "Who the hell is Leanne?" And you need to get this computer out of your bedroom. But it came in the mail like 2 weeks later, and like it just shows you how kind people can be. And
Yeah.
as much as I think I'm a positive person on Twitter, like I see the negative interactions that these Survivor players put up with, and I can't imagine that. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
the moments that I think they get kind outreach where it's not creepy, like it's appreciated. So I try to always keep that balance because part of me wants to geek out and send a DM and be like, "Oh my God, I love you." But then I realize if I'm on the receiving end of that, that's so creepy. So I try to tone that down.
Yeah.
So that is the Survivor Museum collection.
Well,
Excellent. Thank you so
thank
much
you
for coming on.
giving us
Thank you
a
so much
tour
for
of your
having me.
museum.
I know I'm gonna hang up and then be like, crap, I should have shown something, but
Uh,
I do have an autograph from Yao Man from when I met him.
Nice. Oh
oh
wow.
wow.
That's an interesting story. When I went to San Francisco for a job event, and I was just walking around town by myself. I had never been to California before, never been to San Francisco, obviously. So I go into this bar for happy hour, and I was like, let me just sit at the bar and have a drink, and I'll watch whatever game is on TV. and it was also a ping pong bar. So I look over and one of the guys playing ping pong, I'm like, that's Yao Man Chan. And
That's amazing.
so he's playing ping pong, and I go up to him after his game is over, and I said, "Oh, hi, Yao. Like I loved you on Survivor. Can I buy you a drink?" And he goes, "Yeah, I'll come sit with you, but I don't drink, like whatever." So he signs this card for me, and I have it over there. And then he asked me what I'm doing in town, and I said, "Oh, I'm here for work, but I'm leaving tomorrow. I didn't get really a chance to sightsee, and we're just making small talk." And he goes, "Well, did you get a chance to see the Golden Gate Bridge?" And I said, "No, but I really wanted to." And he goes, "Let's go."
Nice.
So I think he's
That's
just pulling
amazing.
my, well, I think he's pulling my leg. So I'm like, yeah, yeah, man, let's go see the Golden Gate Bridge. And he's like, no, I'm serious. Like my Prius is right outside. We'll go.
Oh my gosh.
So I get into Yao Man's car and we're driving all around San Francisco. He takes me to all the tourist spots at like 10
Wow.
o'clock at night. He drives me across the bridge, the Golden Gate Bridge. We get out at the visitors section. We
Yep.
take pictures. I have a few selfies with him. I've shared them on Twitter before. And it was just like, I remember texting my family in the group chat and being like, guys, you won't believe where I am right now. And my brother responded. He's like, yeah, you're in San Francisco. We know you're there for work. And I was like, no, I'm in Yao Man's car right now. And they were like, how the hell did this happen? And I said, I don't know. I just approached him at a bar and said hi. I'm a big fan. And I thought that would be it. And I spent like 3 hours with him. And he was just so kind.
Nice.
And I'll never forget it. And I went back to work the next week and they were like, oh, how was your trip to San Francisco? Did you meet with the client? And I was like, I don't even remember that. I met Yao Man. They were like, "Who the hell is Yao Man?" So I explained it. He was just so nice. So I don't know. It's just these moments that have come
Yeah.
up that I never would have thought would have happened to me. And
You have gotten to have breakfast with Richard Hatch and go like cruising around San Francisco for multiple hours with Yao Man as separate experiences. That is
yeah,
awesome.
yeah, and it's just so random, right?
Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you so much for coming back on the show.
Yeah. Thank you
We
again.
love having you on. Thank
Thank
you
you so
for
much for
giving us a
having me.
tour of your museum.
Anytime, if I get something new, I'll let you know.
Sounds
Yeah,
great.
and
Amazing.
Yeah, and I might buy that Winners at War prop, but I don't know, 2 grand is a lot.
Yeah.
2,500 is even worse. So
Yeah,
two
yeah.
grand doesn't look that bad in comparison to 2,500 if you want to try to justify it that way.
Bruce, you're
At
killing me.
least I didn't spend this.
You're killing me.
Oops.
Maybe I'll start a GoFundMe.
Yeah, but
Well, thank
for
you so
those of
much.
you in the audience, check out Steven's Twitter's more active than Instagram, right?
Um, I've leveled it out, so now it's 50-50. So
Nice.
whatever you see on Instagram is posted on Twitter, unless it's like a retweet of someone else. But I'm trying to be more. I'm trying to build the audience on Instagram more.
Yeah. Check him out at Survivor Quotes X. I will say I know you're on Threads because Instagram does this weird thing where it'll show me a post on Threads that looks interesting,
Mhm.
and then it stops like halfway through, and I click see more, and it wants me to download the app. So when it does that, I just go to your Twitter and read the post usually. But check
I'm
him
gonna
out on Twitter, Instagram, and I'm not on Threads, but I know Steven is because
I
of
am.
that. So
Thank you, thank you. And tonight I'm gonna post that Karen Buff thing. So
Nice.
that I love the mildly interesting trivia. It's
Oh
just
yeah.
yeah.
so nerdy, but it's interesting.
I will say my mom I recently moved out on my own for the first time and around Christmas time my mom was visiting and she told me that she loves the way you word things and it was something about Hans, I forget, but the way you started the post was mildly infuriating piece of trivia.
Yeah,
And that made her laugh. So
that is the one where Russell Hantz has more confessionals in Samoa than Tyson does in all 4 seasons of his combined.
that's insane
Wow.
because he gets so much of the edit in his winning season too.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that just shows how lopsided the editing was in Samoa, if people don't know that already.
That's my answer to the season I most just want to get re-edited and see a different version of, because the winner getting 19 confessionals is stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think my choice would be Winners at War with 90-minute episodes.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Well, we did a question on here one time of like season you'd want to just see re-edited. Like, and I said Samoa. I could have sworn Brett's answer was gonna be Co Wrong just so it wouldn't be so Aubrey heavy, but he said Samoa also. He
Yeah.
surprised me.
No, I think Samoa is the
Isn't
correct
easy.
answer.
Yeah. There's a few of those where and it in Samoa Co Wrong where the edit is very heavy for someone
And
that
it always
wins.
tends to be
And
someone that they know is coming back
yeah,
very soon
Russell
after.
comes back the next season. Aubrey comes back 2 seasons later. But
Yeah, I mean, I think most people would agree that Samoa is too Russell heavy, and essentially, I think it just serves the purpose as being a preview for heroes versus villains,
yeah,
and that doesn't really, it's not fair to Natalie or Mick
yeah.
or any of the other contestants. So
We got a decent amount of Shambo content though. We got her like weird one-sided vendetta against Laura Moret.
yeah, I mean, I think there was more there, but we didn't see it, and
There
then you
has
go
to
to
have been more, but the way they edited it is just one-sided, confusing the audience.
And then I love the Samoa reunion where they're like, Jeff is asking Laura, "Are you two okay?" And she's like, "No, I have no interest in talking to Shambo." Like, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah. Get Shambo and Randy on a season together sometime.
Oh,
Randy bringing random strangers to the Survivor finale. Great reunion moments.
I really wish he would have made it one more episode to make it to the family visit where he allegedly didn't have a family member.
Yeah, that would have been
Something
something.
like TV gold.
Yeah, even Coach had his assistant coach. Randy not having anyone listed is one of my favorite fun facts.
And he's outrageous.
I was also speaking of Randy, speaking of Coach, did you see the Randy tweet about Deal or No Deal Island last week? He said he
No.
didn't watch the first season because of Rob, and he won't watch this season because of Parvati, but says to let him know if Coach is ever on there. Then he'll watch.
I didn't watch season one, but I might watch season two with Parv.
Yeah, it's been good so far.
Yeah, 2 episodes in, it's good.
What network is it on? Peacock?
NBC.
It's on NBC air, but it's on Peacock the next day.
Okay. And I also want to see like The Golden God, so I'll check it out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
All right.
yeah, check him out on his social medias. Check out the other Reality Realm shows. Check out our Reality Realm merch store on Redbubble. It's got all, well, 3 shows. We just launched Roundtable Talk. We'll get some stuff on there soon. Well, with that being said, grab your torches and head back to camp, everyone. Bye.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you.